You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome to Animal Rights on Pet Life Radio. It's your host, Tim Link, and I'm so glad you're joining us today. My special guest today is New York Times bestselling author James Bowen. And we're going to be talking to James and, of course, his cat, Bob, the super celebrity. We'll talk to him a little bit about his new book coming out, A Gift from Bob, as well as how all this happened, his wonderful relationship with Bob. We'll talk a little bit about the upcoming movie as well. So a lot of exciting things to talk about. So everybody just hang tight and stay tuned. We'll be right back after these messages. You're listening to Animal Rights on Pet Life Radio.
Sit. Stay. We'll be right back after a short pause. Well, 4 to be exact.
At Red Barn, our pet food ingredients work overtime. They aren't just there for show. Dandelion greens work to maintain a healthy digestive system. Salmon oil works to enhance the immune system. Green-lipped mussels work to support joint health. These hard-working ingredients support your dog's active, healthy life. Look at the label. We want you to. Red Barn Naturals Pet Food. Simply the best. Find it in your local pet specialty store. Try our grain-free stews, the only pet food with Red Barn bully sticks.
Let's talk pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Animal Rights on Pet Life Radio. Joining me now is author James Bowen and super celebrity Bob. James, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, our pleasure, our pleasure. Now, for those of us, I know you've been asked this a billion times, but we want to set the stage here a little bit. Give us the nickel tour of how you met Bob the cat, and what's happened since the first time you guys met.
Well, the shortest way I could put it for you really is when I moved into my new supported housing after I'd started to get my life back together after coming off the streets. Shortly after moving in there, Bob was on the doorstep on the ground floor of the exact door that I'm on the 5th floor. And he was there for 3 days. And of course, the first day I saw him, I said hello because I'd had cats like most of my life. So I went and said hello to him, and I thought he belonged to the person that he was sleeping on the doormat of. After the 3rd day of him still sitting there, I knocked on the door and said, "Your cat's been sitting there for 3 days." They're like, "It's not my cat." So I invited him up, and fed him, and I was trying to find out who he belonged to. And while I was feeding him, I discovered an abscess on his leg. So I took him to the SPCA, and I bought antibiotics pretty much with the last bit of money I'd had from basking the day before. Little did I know he was going to repay me in such a wonderful way. So over those 2 weeks that I had to give him his antibiotics course, I was going around to everybody in the estates around the area asking if they knew him, and nobody knew him. And I'd put him down and let him walk off to see where he knew where he was going. And the funniest thing was he'd go into the bushes, do his business, and then come back over and look at me as if to go, "Come on then, let's go back upstairs." And so at the end of the 2 weeks, I tried to coax him to find his own way because I didn't know it yet, but he decided to make himself a permanent part of my life. And he'd already worked his way into my heart, that's for sure, over those 2 weeks. And he kept following me a little bit more each day. So every night I'd come home, he'd be sitting on my doorstep, so I'd let him in. And he just cuddled up to me, and we became great mates. And then one day, he followed me so far, he actually jumped on the bus. And this is not a word of a lie. I freaked out. He jumped on the bus with me because I had an open door. And that is just the moment that everything changed. He started coming with me. So I obviously had to get him a harness, for his own safety. But he likes riding on my shoulders because I'm quite tall. So, he gets to see the world. And he just came and he likes the music. So when I'm busking, he just sits by my side, and I was busking. And then I went on to selling The Big Issue, which is a magazine sold by people who are homeless or in vulnerable housing or situations like that. It's a charity. I support the Big Issue Foundation quite a lot. From there, I met my agent, Mary, who's from New York. And she hooked me up with my writing partner, and we wrote the first one, A Street Cat Named Bob, which came out on the 15th of March 2012 over here. And here's this. It came out on the 15th of March because it was Mother's Day. 15th of March is my birthday. They didn't know that. They didn't know that. It was just, that was pure coincidence. And it's things like all these little things that have come together, all because of this wonderful little boy in my life. He has changed my life so dramatically, and I thank him every day.
Wow. It's just such a great story. I mean, I've been following what you do and the whole purpose and mission and everything where your life came from and where you're at today. And as many years as I've been around animals and have worked with animals, they never cease to amaze me how they come into our lives for a purpose, and they work every single day to fulfill that purpose and keep us on the right track to fulfill our purpose. Wouldn't you think?
Don't they just? Bob really, he has been a guiding light to me. I never thought, 4 years after the book came out, that they'd be filming the story of how he and I came together already. It's just phenomenal how much Bob has touched the whole world. I look at him and I am in amazement, and I can see he is an old soul. He's a clever little man, and I cherish every moment with him. I do.
That's fantastic. Well, you prepped us with the show. So you go from playing your music on the streets, you get reunited with your soulmate there, Bob, and then the message gets out to the masses. You get an agent, you get the book deals. Now you got the new movie coming out. Can you highlight a little bit about that?
Yes, Laurence Olivier award-winning actor Luke Treadaway, who is doing an incredible job of emulating me. I think he's great. He's spent so much time. He actually went out and slept rough and went busking and felt what it was like to be invisible, and he actually managed to raise £58 on that night for Shelter, which is a charity for, homeless people to get hostels and stuff for them to sleep in, which I was quite impressed with him making £58 in the short amount of time he did it. But I guess that's just he's got the charm to pull off the role with Bob. Bob loves him. Bob has been working on the film himself. Obviously, they have a bunch of other cats to come in for standing because, I would never have Bob overworked, and none of the other cats would be overworked. And we've got a great trainer who brought the cats over from Vancouver, and Bob has been playing himself in a lot of shots, and he's fantastic. He's the one-take cat.
That's amazing how he just steps forward. And so Bob doesn't have a shy little bone in his body, does he?
Not one. He is the most boisterous, wonderful, playful, and everybody sees him. It brings joy. It brings tears to people's eyes sometimes at our signings. Like when we got taken to Germany in a minibus and did 3 signings over there over 4 days, Cologne, Berlin and Braunschweig, and there were 800 in Cologne. They thought there'd be 300 in Berlin. There were 900 in Berlin, and they thought there'd be about 200 in Braunschweig. There were 900 again in Braunschweig, which was supposed to be the quietest one. So yeah, it just amazes me how many people he's touched the lives of. And I'm just so glad that I've been able to, because of him, been able to give a voice to those who don't have a voice. Animals, people who are invisible, etc., So I really concentrate my life now in trying to give back, because in such a short time, so much as good as changed in my life that I feel I have to share it.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Well, I applaud the work that you and Bob are doing for sure. I mean, it's raising awareness, helping people out, helping animals out, getting the awareness out there as well. And it's all just by there's a plan behind everything, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I don't believe in coincidence. I believe in fate. I mean, like my new book, A Gift from Bob, talks about how people on low income find it a lot harder at Christmas time than people in sort of normal working situations, having to, worry about the electric going off, or, the weather being cold, or, purely being able to afford to eat. It's just, it's a completely different lifestyle for some people. And that's, my Christmas book, I really hope, that people enjoy it as well as it opens their eyes again, which I've never realized that I was doing.
There you go. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break here, and we'll come back with James Bowen, talk to him a little bit more about his new book, A Gift from Bob, and talk to him about writing in general, what he really thinks about all the writing and the movies and all the things going on. So we'll talk a little bit more to him about that. So everybody hang tight. You're listening to Animal Rights on Pet Life Radio.
Sit. Stay. We'll be right back after a short pause. Well, 4 to be exact.
It's DesignerPetSweaters.com. Hand-knitted designer sweaters for your precious pup or cool cat. Beautiful couture patterns for your pets, including custom-knitted formal wear, casual wear, yachting, and even sports-themed. Many designer pet sweaters include feathered tammy hats, top hats, and a lot of sparkle. Each sweater includes leg loops, front paw sleeves, and leash opening. Visit DesignerPetSweaters.com to order your four-legged fashions today. Your pets will stay warm for the winter and be runway ready. Large or small, we fit them all. DesignerPetSweaters.com.
Hi, this is Tim Link, animal communicator and pet expert and host of Animal Rights on Pet Life Radio. Have you ever wanted to know what your pet is really thinking? Do you want to find out if they truly understand what you're trying to tell them? Ever wish you could build a better understanding and closer relationship with your pet? Well, now you can. Learning to Communicate with Animals is a 4-part on-demand workshop. In the workshop, you'll learn the essential techniques that are necessary to communicate with animals, including what is animal communication, breathing correctly to achieve the perfect state to communicate with your animals at a deeper level, using guided meditation exercises and method to communicate with animals, and how to send and receive information from your animals. So if you're wanting to learn how to communicate and connect with your animals at a deeper level, visit PetLifeRadio.com/workshop and purchase and download Learning to Communicate with Animals. You'll be glad you did.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back to Animal Rights on Pet Life Radio. Here with author James Bowen, talking to him about his latest book, A Gift from Bob, and also Bob the Super Cat, as I call him. He's on board, keeping us honest tonight, so that's good to know. Now, James, tell us a little bit about, I want to know about the whole writing process. What do you know about writing? Did you have an inkling in your life to put together a book and put it in a story form? I know, obviously, you're a musician, so I'm sure there's writing involved there, but tell us about that whole process and how that, some of the things that you found out were crazy and wild, and some of the things you thought were pretty darn cool about the publishing industry.
Never in a million years did I think I'd be an author, let alone a number one best-selling author of so many books so quickly. It's been a whirlwind. And, I mean, literally it's been a whirlwind, because when we did A Street Cat Named Bob, Gary, my co-writer, and we sat down and basically we had an organic conversation. I told him the stories that most stuck out in my head, and he went away and, structured it because of the organic flow of a conversation, and then sent it back to me. And obviously we'd go back and forward and editing it. And it's a very different experience from writing music, that's for sure. I think I'd only ever written lyrics before, to be honest. But we worked so well together that, we never realized it was going to do so well. We thought the first signing, as I said, was on my birthday. I couldn't believe it. We thought maybe 40, 50 people would turn up, just sort of locals from around Islington, because Mary lives in Angel, and she's my agent, Mary Patchnos. She's originally from New York, and she came up to me, and she wrote her number down on a brown paper bag. And at first I thought, oh, this is just another crazy person because I've got a cat with me, because people used to come up to me all the time with crazy ideas and things, because I had a cat with me, they'd people knitted him scarves, and he's got the biggest scarf collection of any cat in the world, I think. He gets gifts from all over the world, many gifts from the States as well, so he's just turned up and called around.
He's keeping you honest.
And so Gary and we wrote the book, and we had the first signing in Angel, where I was selling the big issue and busking at the time, when I met Mary. And when I went into the store, there was probably about 20, 30 people queued up, and I thought, oh, that's good. And they had wine and cheese and nibbles, because they thought it was going to be a low-key affair as well, the publishers. Little did we know that 300 people turned up within half an hour. And they only had 320 books, so they sold out. And
oh, gosh.
Bob's sitting by my side, and we made him a little paw print stamp, so that, I just put the stamp on next to the signature. Craziest night that began this whole thing, you know. And what is it? I've done 3 autobiographies, 2 adaptions for younger people, you know, where we've taken away some of the darker parts. And we've recently gone into children's books as well with Penguin Random House. But it's just, I never realized that my calling has found me, you know. I've tried every kind of job that I could get my hands around, and nothing ever stuck with me. Nothing ever gave me such enjoyment as being able to do what I do now. It's an incredible thing to be able to write it down and know that other people can see how you feel from these books.
Absolutely. You know, and I think it's fascinating because, you know, you've lived a challenging life, a very diverse life, we'll put it. As you said, you've done a little bit of everything. But, you know, it just shows you that, you know, when we finally find that purpose and mission, it doesn't always happen to us from day one. Sometimes it's years and years later before it happens. And sometimes it takes, and oftentimes it takes an animal to sort of open that up.
You're so spot on. I actually completely agree with you. I think animals are wonderful. They're wonderful in therapy. I mean, one of the things I was often thinking of doing with Bob is like to do care in the community stuff, you know, take him to, you know, children's hospices, things like that, so he could brighten people's day up, you know, elderly people's homes, stuff like that. But we're in that general direction of working for charitable causes. I just never thought it would be on such a grandiose scale. And then now with this film being made, it's just going to show everybody that sees it what a wonderful thing a cat can be in somebody's life, let alone what Bob has done to people's lives, even though they've never met him.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you brought up that topic. Tell us about some of the charitable things going on, and you know, Bob to the Rescue. Tell us a little bit about that and how people can get involved or find out more about it.
Well, I mean, obviously, you know, it's all on Amazon. I can't believe my Amazon listing. A Street Cat Named Bob has been translated into nearly 40 languages now, I believe. And Bob to the Rescue is the second of the 2 children's books I've done where it's a bedtime story where Bob finds a puppy. With his getting my attention, I helped to find the puppy's home. So, and Bob's the clever one. He finds the phone number on the phone pole. Yeah, Bob's the star. It's just, I'm really enjoying doing these things, diversifying just from autobiographies into other things, and now obviously film and television. And so with my charitable stuff, I've been working with Cats Protection League. I've done an Adopt Don't Buy campaign photo for Peter, just for adopting instead of buying from pet shops. Blue Cross have been great in Bob. They got him chipped and neutered, so I give them as much support as I can. They're like the SPCA, obviously the RSPCA as well, and oh, there's so many. Actually, he even won an honorary dog award, believe it or not, from Dogs Today magazine.
I love it. Well, I love how he stands up for the dogs as well, you know, and takes care of them and watches after them.
Yeah, Bob's the every cat.
That's amazing. Now, regarding the film that's coming out, when can we expect it? Is it due to hit here in the U.S. as well? Tell us a little bit about that and some of the time frames.
Well, as far as I know, it's pretty much every region except the US at the moment. But we're planning, hopefully it will be slated for the US by the time it's ready. It'll be mid to late next year because they've got to edit it and do all the sound and stuff like that. We're only like halfway through the shooting at the moment. But yeah, it's going great, and I have so much faith in this. I'm doing it more for love than anything else.
There you go. So everybody, we'll stay tuned to that and keep you posted on when that comes out. And meanwhile, everybody can go out and find out more about A Gift from Bob and all the other wonderful books you've got out there, James. Big kudos to you and Bob. I mean, I just love your story, love what you're doing. And, you know, I think the nice thing about it, or the thing I enjoy most about it, is the fact that you realize he's there. He's your partner in crime. And everything you guys are doing is really getting the message out and helping others. And big kudos for that.
He's my partner in love, that's for sure. Yes, and he drives me. He drives me to be a better person.
There you go. I love it. Good deal. Where can people find out more about you and Bob and all the wonderful stuff you got going on?
Well, on Facebook, obviously, there's, if they just Facebook/Street Cat Bob, it comes up to James Bowen and Street Cat Bob book page. Then there are a lot of fan clubs, actually, quite surprisingly. I never thought that I'd ever have a fan club, but they're all for Bob. I don't mind. He's such a beautiful boy. He deserves it. And obviously on Amazon for the books.
There you go. We'll have all that posted on our sites as well. Everybody go, keep track of Bob and James and what's going on Street Cat Bob through Facebook and obviously through Amazon. All the wonderful books are on there as well. And yes, and maybe we'll even see a knitted cap line from Bob coming out pretty soon. All right. Well, James, listen, I appreciate it. Keep up the great work. Give Bob a big hug from me, and we'll keep track of each other, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, my pleasure. Well, we're coming to the end of the show today. I want to thank everyone for listening to Animal Rights on Pet Life Radio. I'd also like to thank our sponsors and producers for making the show possible. To find out more about me, Tim Link, and the other guests I've interviewed on the Animal Rights Show, you can go to PetLifeRadio.com, click on the Animal Rights icon, and download and listen to all the wonderful episodes. And while you're there, be sure to check out all the other wonderful hosts and shows on Pet Life Radio. That's PetLifeRadio.com. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas for this show, you can email me. Email me at tim@PetLifeRadio.com. I'll be glad to answer your questions, entertain your comments, and bring on the people you want to hear from most. So until next time, write a great story about the animals in your life, share it in a blog, an article, or in a book, and who knows, you may be the next guest on Animal Rights on Pet Life Radio. Have a great day.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.